Tom Forster is a liar.
And we're live, everybody. Hi, you guys.
That's what I wanted to start with. That's how I'm feeling right now.
Well, we shall see. Hello, everyone. Welcome to Gymcastic, the #1 gymnastics podcast in the galaxy. I'm Jessica, and I'm here live in Fort Worth. Thanks to our Club Gym Nerd members for supporting us and sending us here. I'm here with Kensley and Spencer from the Balance Beam Situation and special guest Scott Bregman from the Olympic Channel. We need to get this out of the way, you guys, because there's many happy things to discuss, but the first thing we have to discuss is our feelings about Morgan Hurd. I cried so much tonight. Kensley can confirm how much I cried. Scott, do you want to describe your feelings and what happened with Morgan tonight?
Well, I'm gonna reserve. I'm holding it back for a bit. You know, we don't know what's going on officially. We've seen some tweets. You know, I think the most convincing one is probably one from Heath, because I'm assuming he's in contact with Morgan.
Right.
In the presser, Tom did say the petition process is not yet complete. We don't know what that means. They didn't go into any further details. So, my overall feelings is that, you know, Morgan Hurd is an amazing young woman. She's had an amazing career. She's had some really bad luck in the last 15 months. And that's it. I mean, what else can you say about Morgan Hurd? I mean, she's just from a personal perspective, you know, she's been a dream to work with, obviously on All Around, and we'll have a sad interview to do, probably one way or the other. And we'll see. Is this better? God, I don't want to be this close.
That's too
And
close.
this
Now you're too
emotional
close. It's too close now.
to Jessica.
He
Yeah.
already says I sexually harass him too much. I'm just gonna give you like a, you know, in a good way, you guys. So I mean, the thing that happened, you guys, is that we heard. So, on the men's side, which Kensley found out for us, that the men did not announce who was going to trials because an independent observer, which they have for all of the stuff, has to like review everything first before they announce it. We asked specifically, are you going to announce the Olympic who makes it to trials tonight, or is you're going to wait for the independent observer, just like the British team does, right? We're used to this from them. And we never got an answer. But then we, you know, saw who it looks like is going to trials, but we heard nothing about petitions. And then we asked Tom Forster on the in the mix zone. So, you know, there's rumors that some people's petitions have already been denied. He said the petitions are under review, and I have to talk to the athletes first. So I don't know yet, and then before I tell the press, I will talk to the athletes first. So according to him, no one has been denied yet, and the athletes will know specifically. We did ask for a deadline. Kensley specifically asked for a
Yeah, she
Kensley.
did. Kensley asked for a
deadline.
Kensley, meaning
Kensley
and
was like,
Kensley is Gymcastic
Kensley
for
this shit
deadline.
immediately.
Yeah, it is.
So we don't know if this was inferred, if he's, you know, why, but I don't know why he would lie to us all, or if he doesn't know that it's already been. We don't know what's going on, but it seems from Morgan's best friend, who's furious, and thank God for a furious best friend. Am I right?
A furious
best.
gay best friend.
A furious gay best friend is like no other. Heath went onto Twitter and just ripped USAG a new one for denying her petition, but Tom says nothing's been denied yet. So
okay, that is and Lauren is updating. Thank you, people. Update us on what's happening on Twitter, because, you know, I'm not keeping track now because we have to record. Lauren says Heath tweeted, "Wow, okay, it's all a bit overwhelming right now, so I just deleted 2 of the tweets. Let's wait and see what occurs over the coming days and hope it's been a poor communication breakdown."
Right.
And that was what I was gonna. That's where I was, because okay, so Tom Forster says in press, nothing's been decided yet, but Heath said, you know, Morgan's petition was denied. I'm assuming he got that information from Morgan. So either Tom was just lying in press and being like, just because he didn't want to answer the question and pretending like it hasn't happened yet, even if it has, or Morgan thinks her petition has been denied, which is also like, either way, you fucked up. Like if the athletes think that, like, don't have all the information, if Morgan currently thinks that her petition has been denied, but it hasn't, you've screwed that up too. Because they should know more than we do. You should have been in communication with them first.
Yeah, I think the other issue is that there doesn't seem to be really strict documentation for who was going to be able to make it to trials other than the top 8 all around. And so
Wow. Not strict documentation?
And so we see this top 17 all around plus Riley. And so my question is, how were these things decided, especially so quickly? And why did Riley not have to petition? And why did
Right.
numbers 9 through 17 not have to petition? It's just very, very confusing.
Yeah,
I
that
mean,
was
that's a
gonna
good
be
question.
my-
If they, yeah.
That
Go
was,
ahead,
that was going to be my question to you, Spencer, because if Riley is, I mean, I don't know if you didn't do the all around, if you have to petition, or they can just pull her up based off of being second on bars.
As it's written, they can just add whoever the hell they want. And so, but the fact that Riley was added seems to indicate, and everything else is all around, it's always all around. 17 all arounders make it, which is another thing. I'm like, yeah, Morgan's results did not like those routines are not like, yes, you must go to Olympic trials. But I'm like, even if you allow for it, like a 2% chance that Morgan in the next 3 weeks gets her all around back, that's 2% more of a chance than like 5 of the people you advance to trials have of making this team.
Well, and it's not like that there's
I'm
not this
getting on to another. Yeah, I know.
It's not like that there's not this precedent to have people who aren't necessarily ready be petitioned to trials. Think about Rebecca Bross. Think about Nastia Lukin. I'm sure that there's others that I'm that I can't remember right off the top of my head. It all seems very strange. So I'm hoping that what Heath tweeted was wrong, and that Morgan will actually be petitioned to trials.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think Tom is lying to us because he has not lied to us in the past, and I don't know why he would do that. And based on what they do for the men's, the independent observer is a rule for everybody. So that makes sense to me.
Mm-hmm.
I also understand that a gay best friend can have your back, get really pissed, and go on Twitter. Like, this happens too. But the other thing is there is precedent for taking. I mean, Riley basically won bars in the non-Simone. Like, she's second, right? With a 15. Or 15
well, she got a higher bar score than Simone.
She's second behind Sunisa. Sunisa.
So basically, if you're the top person on the event, then it totally makes sense that you can petition to trials, because Tom finally confirmed for us today that yes, the job. Would you like to say what he said?
Oh, that we're trying to win medals, and so the second +1 spot will be the person who can win a medal or medals.
And he brought up the part about, yes, like there's still 2 per country, so we have to, it's an all-arounder is probably not going to pass team. And he said the job of the selection committee is, after the 2 people at trials who automatically make it, 1 and 2 and all around, the job of the selection committee is to make the highest scoring team, the 3-up 3-count team. So he said, yes, we are not necessarily taking top 4 all around. We are taking the 3-up 3-count team. That's our job. And that Pro Score has a system that is basically Spencer with a spreadsheet.
Or just Excel is a system. This is not hard.
Right, that shows all the scenarios. And so, yes, he confirmed finally 3-up 3-count is the goal.
All of the quotes from Tom I thought were very encouraging.
Yes.
I'm skeptical because we have been burned in his everything about him, but I'm like, you're answering all of these questions like correctly, and I'm not mad at your answers. So that's new.
Yeah, I was shocked about the part about the Pro Score system, because that's something we haven't seen in the past.
And clearly wasn't used in 2019.
Correct.
Yeah,
because it would have given you a different result.
Yeah, his answers were very, very encouraging, especially about 3-up 3-count. And so, Spencer, you made all of these spreadsheets in Excel, and can you talk a little bit about who actually would be the best 3-up 3-count team?
I will in a second. Lots of questions coming in, which I think are very good questions, about what actual scores, though, are they using? He says it'll be based on who's the top 3 up 3-count. Are there's trials. Is it trials? Is it best score from trials? Is it average score from trials? Best of the 2 days? Do you have to hit both days? How are you coming up with this team?
Trials in general.
That's not enough as an answer. This is what Marta
If-
would never get into, because she would never use scores. She would just be like, I'm Marta. I'm just gonna look at you and be like, you suck and you don't, and you're on the team.
That's not true, because in 2016 she took the highest scoring potential team. If
which I view as coincidental, by the
Gabby
way.
hits, this is the highest scoring potential.
I don't think
team.
they picked that team because it was the highest scoring team. I think it's just worked out that way. But anyway.
Why
Katie
is-
asked why I'm not on the selection committee. It's okay. There are several good reasons why I'm not on the selection committee. Because I would kill all of them. I don't play well with others.
But you do
What?
play well with
I'm
numbers.
right.
You play well with numbers, Spencer, and this is important.
Scott, what was your like biggest takeaway from the mix zone and what we learned after the meet?
I think the highlight for me was listening to Jordan Giles just talk about, her tears after, which I didn't see, I guess, from where we were sitting.
Yeah.
I
There
didn't
was
see
a
them.
big tears close up.
Yeah,
And then
she was
Simone's
just
giving
saying-
her some amazing pep talk that Terry and Nastia talked through, so you couldn't even hear it. And it was like, come on, you guys.
Yeah, she was saying that it was actually Cecile crying that sort of prompted the original tears. But the line that really stuck out to me is that she just, she said that she was thinking about herself in the past and that she really couldn't have imagined herself where she is today a couple of years ago, or maybe even a year ago. So that was probably the moment that really stuck out to me. Everything else was sort of as you might have expected, I guess, from the other athletes we spoke to.
Jordan also said that Cecile and Laurent are the dopest people she's ever met.
Very
You guys,
important.
I cried so much tonight. I cried basically from the time Morgan did her floor routine, because I was like, this might be the last time we see Morgan compete as an elite gymnast. So I cried the whole time, and I made Kensley hold my hand. So thank God that you weren't there. Did you cry
Oh,
during
God.
Morgan's floor?
I didn't, but I did note to myself, like, what if this is the last elite routine we see from her? Yeah, that was
And
tough.
then we had to hug.
We hugged before we went live, and I thought Jessica was gonna sob again. I felt it coming.
Yeah, but I did. I've held it together. I cried so much. The Diane Durham thing made me cry the hardest.
Oh,
Like
yeah.
Zert did such a nice job. That was really like, I was really touched. And he was sitting right next to us. So then he looked over and I had just tears coming down my face. And that happened. So what else did we learn in the we didn't learn anything else major in the presser, except what did Simone say about her nail on vault?
I guess it
Oh, yeah.
broke in half. I don't
Yeah,
know.
she
I
was very. We could see her looking at her nails, and she was very bugged by something that happened to her nail on vault. She was like, "Why do I even do this anymore? I'm gonna scratch vault because it's breaking my nails."
We kept wondering what happened, because she was on the table longer than she normally is. Like normally she's like lightning fast off the table, but then she was looking at, I thought she was looking at her wrist, but she didn't seem bothered, obviously, because Simone. But breaking
she-
a nail.
She broke a nail,
I
and they
mean,
looked really cute tonight, apparently. So that was really disappointing.
Yeah. Okay, so Spencer, let's talk about, are you gonna stick around? Are you gonna stay?
Do you want me to?
Yes, you should totally stay.
Okay, hold on. I have to adjust how I'm sitting then.
Okay,
This is
because
not meant for
I know,
long term.
because I'm totally squeezing you right now.
Oh, but this is so much more fun if I get to do this. Do
For
you guys like this?
For our
Yeah.
visual listeners.
everyone
You
hear me?
seem very. Everyone. seems
Jessica
really
is getting a
comfortable.
taste of her own medicine for all of the years that she has squeezed and cried and hit, and now Scott can return
Yeah.
a favor.
I also apparently I've been reminded that I might owe some dirt. I hope it hasn't. It's like lingered in the ether for a while now, and I'm hoping it hasn't been built up to be too much. But I think it's an interesting little insight that I have.
Would you like to deliver it now? Because I would like to. I think everyone would like to hear it.
Do I mean, I have to keep. Should I move over to Kensley?
How about I'm gonna give you the mic to tell the story.
It's a bang up operation here. Everything's going great.
Okay. Wait.
There you go.
But then can I hear other people?
Yeah.
I mean, you do have
Oh,
headphones.
yeah, yeah.
So you should be able to hear.
This is like my first time with technology. I don't know what's.
How did we get so many streams of USAG events over the years? Because clearly you've never done audio before.
Anyhow, so my story is from Rio. And so my job at the Olympics in Rio, I was the press officer for USA Gymnastics, and that meant that I would take the athletes after competition through the mix zone, which at the Olympic Games is super super crazy. Media from all over the world, and then I would take the athletes over to the International Broadcast Center and basically to NBC, and so we go 4 or 5 times. You go after podium, you go after the team final, you go after the all-around final, and then if like Simone was in all three finals, all 3 of the final days, she only went into after the floor final. So I'm taking all of the athletes over various times. I don't think any of the coaches came except for Amy. She was the team coach, so she came. But like on the all-around day when I took when I took Allie and Simone over, Mihai's nowhere to be found. He's out celebrating, as you should, when you coach your gymnast to a silver medal in the all-around the Olympic Games. When Maddie Koshin.
Maddie Desh's Olympic gold medal.
I had Maddie.
Breaking.
I made a Maddie Desh joke earlier, so she was on my brain.
Uh-huh.
When she won her silver medal, we went over to the IBC, and obviously Laurent did not come because, again, he was out celebrating his athlete's Olympic silver medal. And so when Lori wins her silver
Mhm.
medal, Maggie comes, sort of surprisingly, and it was just very like, this was clear that it was, when Amy came, she stood against the wall. It was clear she was sort of taking it all in, kind of being like, just this, couldn't believe sort of
Mhm.
where she was and the journey that she and Simone were on. And it was very much in the background. And when Maggie came, it was very clear it was about Maggie. It was the Maggie show, and she was coaching her up. And I just remember this, remember to tell me, you want to say this, you want to do this, and you want to do that. And it was just sort of those sorts of moments where you're like, okay, like, this is not a good situation. Lori just won the Olympic silver medal and beam. You didn't win the medal. And so I don't know, maybe that's not the best scoop ever, but like, it was a moment that I'll always remember because everybody else was so chill. And
Mhm.
then she was so like, this is about me, this is my moment. And then we found out what we found out about her.
So is your conclusion from that it looks like we're making out on the video?
Jess,
Is your
surprisingly, we can actually also hear you when you're just
Okay.
sitting there normally.
Is
'Cause
your
you-
conclusion from that like the more detail you get from the coaches, like the more obsessed they are over their gymnasts, the more it gives you a gut feeling that something's wrong?
I think another thing that has always bothered me about clubs like that is when you have athletes who finish the same way. And like, if you look at how Riley used to finish and
Uh-huh.
how Lori finishes, I don't know if Riley has changed at her.
Slates.
Yeah, they finished. Maggie very clearly had her girls finishing like down here. Not like up here. Not, it was very clear she wanted them there, and like,
He's putting his arms way behind him.
and I just think that because you imagine how many hours it takes to have that become your muscle memory of like, I just did the best balancing routine of my life and I'm going to finish with my arm here, not like just throw them up wherever. Like, and if all of the girls do it the same, I get really nervous.
Yeah. And there aren't any other gyms like that out here on the floor tonight, right? I mean, that's all over. No one else does that.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Okay. Should we discuss? Okay. Hold
Okay,
on. I'm
I'll
switching
go.
back.
I'll go sit with Kinsley.
Okay, perfect. Oh wait, here, take this. Hold on, we're switching off, you guys. Okay. So I also want to tell you guys, all right, let's go through. So Spencer, who would the top scoring team from tonight? So the top scoring team from the first night was 3-up-3 count. So
Yeah.
Olympic team finals was Biles, Childs, Lee,
Lee.
Wong.
Yes.
What would it be for night 2?
Replace Wong with Skinner.
With Skinner. Oh,
Yeah.
would you like to eat a little crow, Mr. Spencer Burns?
I mean, no, because I don't think that's actually a realistic team.
Okay.
It's
And then
you use you get quirks on certain days, and you get Skinner had a very good day. She performed very well today. I don't think that's ultimately gonna make the most sense.
and then who would be like if you combine the scores, took averages like they did?
I actually haven't done averages, but I have done best of either day.
Oh, okay.
Best
So who
13
would
of
make?
either day, which would be the first day team with Leanne Wong. Because
Okay.
if that's the thing, my thing with Skinner is that so she got a 13.75 on floor today, which was a big improvement for her. But we saw a lot of people like, McCallum's gonna be capable of a 14 on floor by trials, you think. Leanne Wong got a 14 on floor the first day. So it was kind of the quirk of people who should be getting higher floor scores kind of struggling there that allowed Skinner's 13.75, in addition to her vault 15, to be extremely helpful for her as part of the team. But I don't think that's gonna, hold.
So
But,
we are would you like to come join us? So we are probably going to have the most important thing from this is an all black, all Asian team, or an all black and Asian and Pinoy team, which is my other favorite thing. So I would like to tell you guys who got booed when they showed them on the big screen in the arena. Yes.
Mhm.
So if you want to hear that story, please stick around and join Club Gym Nerd for another 40 minutes of discussing this competition. This behind the scenes is brought to you live from Fort Worth by our Club Gym Nerd members. You can join at gymcastic.com. So
that was an excellent teaser, by the way.
thank you, right?
Like if I only heard that part and then it was like, I got some Scott visiting, I got you talking about someone getting booed, I would be like, I'm going to subscribe.
This is why we have almost 8 million downloads. We're kind of a big deal, you guys. I don't know if you know this. So, you guys, okay, before we talk about more, they showed, Kensley, do you want to talk about what happened? Because you witnessed it. Somebody's boyfriend.
See him.
Oh yes. So it wasn't tonight though. It was in the crowd on night one, and one Simone Biles' boyfriend, Stacey Irvin, was in the crowd. Oh yeah,
Ex-boyfriend.
ex-boyfriend.
Oh.
Forgive me. Was in the crowd, and when they showed him on the screen, he got booed by the entire arena.
Yeah,
Oh my
that is
God.
hilarious. That's hilarious.
I'm really upset though right now because we have another special guest in the room who's being really shy.
Very shy.
And it's
understand.
really not like him. And yeah, thank you. Like, but there he is,
Oh.
Mr. Will Graves.
A dramatic reveal.
Right. And I don't know what he's doing because the only thing that Will loves better than a long question is admiration from fans.
Will,
Shout out to mainstreamers. Shout out to the Gymcastic community. Jess, you're the best.
thank you. I will.
I will.
Shout out to Will for writing one of the best pieces about Jordan and her mom and about parents taking ownership of what happens to their children in elite gymnastics culture. It was such a good story. Before I tell you more behind the scenes stories, I do want to talk about Simone, because we don't
Is
talk
she
about
good?
Simone enough, you guys.
Do we not?
We do
I
not.
feel like we talk about her a sufficient amount.
First of all, I just want to point out, so third on bars, first on everything else.
Yeah.
And there were 3 world champions here and an Olympic gold medalist competing this weekend.
Mm-hmm.
2 Olympic gold medalists, I should say. And like Simone's been in an elite for 10 years now, right? 10 years? Since 2011? 2012? She's been an elite?
She was definitely an elite in 2012. She was an elite in 2011.
Yeah. And she's dominated the whole time. Like, she even took a year off and came back and dominated. Like, think of the people that have tried to do that before. Like, Dawes and Shannon Miller have taken time off and come back, but they didn't come back like Simone and just blasted everyone the whole time. Nastia came to try to come back, couldn't do it. It just, you guys.
Did you hear her little snippet in the interview when she said, "This may be one of my last national competitions"? And I was like, She did not say that this was the final. So there may be more to come.
I mean, it's like Sam's been very specific. Like, this is my last national championship. And
Sam
Simone was
McCulloch
not that
can't wait.
specific.
Sam McCulloch is like, get me married and out of this leotard. That Sam McCulloch is just can't wait. He's like, I'm in love. I have puppies. I want to do therapy and start my next life. Okay, so do you guys have any favorite Simone moments from tonight besides Simone in like snake print? Can we appreciate the snake print Leo that she was wearing?
Is that what that was?
Was
That
it?
was definitely snake print.
Okay.
Or alligator. It was some sort of swamp, something with you'd make boots out of. We're in Texas.
Oh, Jessica.
Yeah. I mean, for me tonight, I think she was just like, I mean, and this is just a testament to how good she is. I just think she was like normal Simone. Like, this is what you expect, right? Like, I don't think anything was, out of the ordinary, especially spectacular. She only did 2 of her named elements tonight. So it's like, why did we even show up?
Yeah.
Yeah, and she didn't do her Yurchenko double back tonight because
Can
she's
we discuss also how I am disappointed that she's not going to end up trying to get Bar's skill named after her? I feel like you had such an opportunity.
For the next quad, Spencer.
That's her parents.
Obviously, if she is becoming a specialist for the next quad, she's not going to do bars.
She doesn't have to do bars big time. All she has to do is go to a World Cup, jump up, do the Weiler full, and hop off, Spencer.
Thanks,
also think-
Jessica. But yeah.
I'm
Oh
not
my God, what
convinced
happened?
about this. This isn't about tonight's performance, obviously, but I'm not necessarily convinced about this specialist thing
Mhm.
because, like, I think she's gonna come back. It's gonna be so easy. And then, like, in March
Yeah.
of 2024, she's gonna be like, it'd be fun. My 2013 bar routine and a 3rd Olympic all-around gold medal.
Yeah. Yeah. She's going to come back, think she's doing 3 events, and then someone's going to be like, tweet like, if Simone had done bars and gotten a 4.45, she would have won the all around at this competition. She's like, I can probably still kip.
Well, Sarah, she has said that's weighing on her, and then I'm hoping that as a little throwback, a tribute to her roots, she'll want to go to LA 2028 for Coach Amy.
I don't think so. But but who knows, you guys? I mean, what if she like competed with like Venus or whoever that tennis player is, and just with the kids all over the world? Wouldn't that be great? Because I think she's gonna want to have kids, right? She's like a kids person, I think. Yeah, Simone. I think so.
Let's just plan Simone's life for her.
Let's do it. We've planned everyone else's. Okay, I want to mention also that Lori and Skinner tied for the Sports Person of the Year award.
Yeah.
The way it should be, you guys. And whoever thought that those 2 would tie for Sports Person of the Year?
And you know what? Bowls for everybody.
Simone got another salad bowl.
Oh my God.
I so wanted to ask
What
her
is
in the
she
press
gonna do
conference,
about
what are you
that?
going to do with all of your salad bowls? What do
You
you
should
do?
have.
Why
That would have
didn't
been,
you ask
that would have
that?
been awesome.
She's probably like, oh, they're my dog's water bowls. That's what I do with them. Okay, she didn't do her Yurchenko double pike tonight because she took that hard, like short landing in podium training for Yurchenko double pike, and so she's like, meh, I'll just wait on that. Like, I've proven I can do it. You all can relax. Also, can we talk about the SUNY bars controversy? And Coop has a video to show about this, because SUNY did on the night 1, she did her full bar routine. She got the extra hard one where she connects everything.
Yeah.
And tonight she didn't do her hardest version, and this happened. And you can see, if you're one of our visual listeners, that this is a gif of her bars. Her feet clearly smack the mat. Smack.
They make contact with the mat.
I would say brush would be.
That's not a brush.
They touch.
Have
They
either of you
just
done a kip?
brush.
But I mean, what is
Yes,
is
and
this the
yes.
language?
Michigan
Well,
gymnast.
I know he's done a kip, but
Is this the language we're looking at, Kinsley? Is that
Mhm.
He-
So what happened was, in the previous code of points, there was a provision for a deduction if you brush or touch the mat. In the future code coming, the 2022 to 2024, there will also be one. In the current code, there does not exist any deduction for brushing, touching the mat. It's only if you fall.
Yeah.
which is
Or you
insane.
make like you smack it and there's like support against the mat, which there's not here. This is an incidental hit of.
Right, which is a deduction. You can't
should
touch the
be.
ground.
It
She's
should
touching
be a
the ground.
deduction.
Yes.
It should be a deduction, but
Is
by
the
the code
point
of
is
points,
this and this
it's
has
not.
nothing to do with Suni. Suni is
We
living
all
her
know.
life.
This
It's
is
the
Club Gym Nerd.
judges.
You don't have to like.
It's
explain
not
to them.
Twitter, so I don't have to defend
It's not-
myself before I open my mouth. So you guys, like, this is the thing. Like, Suni's amazing. And the fact that she's like walking is just even like amazing, despite doing the gymnastics, right? But the problem is the judging. And is this routine like what's the difference between these two scores? The super hard D score with no mistakes versus tonight. What was it, like 2/3 difference?
The difference was just the D score.
4/10. That's
The
wrong.
difference was entirely D score. I
That
mean, I
this-
agree with that.
Yeah.
But
Suni's not wrong. The code.
I think you're overstating the severity of the contact with this mat. It should be a deduction, maybe like 3/10. Like that's fine.
Yes.
1/10 or 3/10, I would be fine with. It's not a full fall and shouldn't be evaluated as such.
No, it's not a fall, but it should be at least 3/10. The way that
I mean, that's what I think should happen. That's not what the code says, though, so the judges can't do anything about that.
the code is wrong. Once again, Suni is
Obviously.
wonderful. Code is wrong. So that's going to be fixed in the next code, right, Kensley? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, in the new code that's coming up, there's a specific area. It says brush on a mat will be a 3/10 deduction.
Which is good change.
Also, shout out to Pam Chinkova who sent me
Yeah.
all of this because I was not as familiar with the women's code and I had just taken from the last code. And
And the
had-
women's code is also garbage and makes no sense, so that's fun too.
so I had no idea that this had been removed, and that's garbage. I think it was a very bad oversight.
I do think though, like we just watched it in slow motion 47 times, and it's pretty. It's not like a slam of her feet on
Yeah,
the mat.
it's very incidental. It's
It
just
was
contact,
obvious from
but,
where
like,
I was sitting at the top of the row on my side on the bar
well,
side.
I was on the
I
other side
really-
of the arena, and I thought, "Ooh, did she?" I couldn't tell.
From my side, I was like, she hit her feet.
I really like that Jessica tried to pull the like, have you ever done gymnastics? Logical fallacy. And then Scott was like, yes, and I am better than you.
I
at
wasn't
it, and
talking
I
to
am-
Scott. I was talking to you mostly, and Kensley a little bit because I know Kensley's done gymnastics. But the castaway kip where you're
Yeah.
you
No, I
think
mean
you're
it,
going
but
to be
it doesn't
fine,
make
and then
it
your
not
legs
a
go
logical
splat.
fallacy.
Fine. So Adex would like us to mic the mat. Decibels equal deductions. I agree with you. Or
Oh my god,
you,
that's such a Jessica opinion.
or
Measure the
honestly,
deductions by like the decibels of the contact. Yeah.
and who should win the competition by fans loving you the most.
Oh my
Um,
god.
Speaking of which, you guys, okay, so who made the best case for themselves for the non-Suni Jordan Childs spot on the Olympic team? Because those three are for sure
You said
confirmed.
Suni, Jordan, Childs, and you forgot Simone.
Well, she's a foregone conclusion. The
Yeah.
fourth spot or the non-Jade +1.
Well, based on today's, Skinner did. But I mean, I'm not actually putting her on the team, but I think she increased she made that like, this is a maybe. This is a maybe situation. Lots of people are saying Riley or Emma or Lee. Everyone's saying everything.
I
What
think
Riley did is now I'm like, oh, if you even just add back beam at trials, like you don't even have to do, I mean, it's Tom, so like you probably have to do vault and floor, but I'm like, if she has bars and beam, I'm like, at least the +1.
I was confused what Tom said about Riley in the all around. He was like, we expected her to do the all around, and I wasn't clear if that meant like 3 weeks ago, because I think most people who were at US Classic or watched it would have assumed. So I'm wondering if she's actually closer than it appears. I mean, she's not taping it. She is running. She obviously did the dismount several times with no problem. So we'll see. I mean, I think what we saw in warm-ups at Classic on floor, and obviously that double twist that she hurt herself on, was much improved. Bars is amazing. But I will say my other one was Leanne Wong, because she started so strongly on floor on day one, and obviously she can do a beautiful double twisting Yurchenko. And I kind of expected when she went to bars and beam that it might not continue to go as well, just given some of her past history. And I know she had a little bit of an error on bars day one, but we've seen meltdowns on bars at nationals before when she's been in good position. So that really impressed me. And then for her to have, a pretty good day today as well, I think she really impressed me. And obviously Emma, which I don't
Yeah.
think any of us saw coming.
No, I know. We should talk a lot about Emma because I'm like, I thought you didn't have a back anymore. I thought your spine was powder and your legs were gone and you had just gotten full Texas dreamed and you were never going to do gymnastics ever again.
It's true. If Malibuyo ends up making the team, I think she would be the most unexpected of the Zemescal clan to actually get Zemescal an Olympian.
She also, to play devil's advocate, she could also be an example of Zemescal being like, oh, I have really done damage and need to change everything I've done with coaching. And Malibuyo is the first of the generation of change and seeing someone actually be healthy.
Based on what?
Based on the fact that she's here and she looks really
She's
healthy.
here and yeah.
And, she looks this is some of the best we've ever seen her, honestly. She looks fantastic. So the finals all
Since
around
that year where
point
she was like getting 57s, her last year as a junior when she was like getting 57s, this is the best she's looked.
Right. And this is coming back from a major leg injury. And so tonight was Simone, Suni, Jordan, and Malibubu, as I affectionately call her, everyone, which she loves. I don't know if she does, but she was 4th and Leanne Wong was 5th. And like DiCella was the one, like I thought for sure she was going to be right there. But like, again, she had trouble. Like she just fell right off beam. She mounted and was like, boop, I'm off the other side.
Oh yeah. She just went I was like, turn it into a hip circle.
Yeah.
At that point, like we've seen, who did Crystal Issa do that or someone in NCAA who has a candle mount did it and went over like DiCella and she was just like, well, let's
Back
see
hip
if I
circle.
have a hip circle on beam. We're going to find out right now. Yeah. So, but yeah, she just boop.
Yeah, I think Riley for sure. So, Kara Akers also said that she has been like focusing on that individual spot, and like definitely her all around has come around, and her beam was way closer to where it should be tonight. It's not there yet. She still has a
but
little
it was still like
connections.
so much lower than Suni or Malibuyo scored, and that was like a really good beam for her.
It was a
And
great
she
beam.
like it was lower than Sky Blakely. It was the same as Chris McCallum.
Yep. So Riley for sure is my top +1er right now.
Mhm.
But Shilese also did great. Can we talk about Shilese? And the crowd loved her. This crowd was so good.
Jessica's doing scores by applause again.
Listen, don't make me come over there. She got a 15 on vault, right?
Yeah,
15?
her Yucheko double foley is excellent.
I mean, I know we have a lot of great vaulters, but you guys still. Her floor also, she did her Jones, and her on beam she fell, but everybody falls on beam. I mean, have you seen the competition? So yeah. Do we want to talk about the Shane incident?
Sure.
Shane
I'll talk about
Wiskus?
the Shane Wiskus incident.
So we and I'm very interested to hear from Scott as a person who's actually done high bar, which is way scarier than
Scott's like sometimes.
uneven bars.
I didn't do that kind of high bar. I never did a casino. Are you kidding me?
Well, I know, but you have done it more than the three of us. So so Shane Wiskus, who's fantastic. You guys remember Shane Wiskus for when he did at championships last year, the year before, he did
If you've paid for a Gymcastic subscription, you know who Shane Wiskus is.
Kovacs to one arm catch a la Epke. And
Casino to one arm.
Was it a casino?
He usually the one arm catch is usually on a casino.
So he did one, missed, and slammed down on the 8-inch mat, but slammed down so hard. And he slammed so hard that I said when it happened, and Kensley confirmed, someone stop him. It was that hard that he slammed on the ground. He then gets back up and tries it again. And
he went for his Coleman, and he was so far away. It was the kind of miss where it almost looked like he didn't know where he was in the air, and he missed it by quite a lot.
Yeah, and he landed just backwards and then like a squat. It wasn't a crazy hard landing. Then he got up again and did a Kovacs, right? Mm-hmm.
Yes.
and missed his Kovacs, and then he slammed the hardest of all.
Really hard.
And it almost looked like he missed. When we watched it in slow motion, he did land. His head was a little bit on the 8-incher,
And his
but
head like snapped
it
back.
bounced him back up. It was very scary. And then a second coach came over and talked. I have asked USA Gymnastics to confirm whether or not that was a medical provider or a coach that came up, and I haven't received a response yet. I also asked USA Gymnastics if they have a pre-concussion protocol on file, pre-concussion scan for everybody who is here at the competition. I'm waiting for that response. But it was really, really scary. And it totally reminded me of Blaine Wilson's 2004 Olympic high bar slam on the ground, where he got a concussion so bad that he had antegrade amnesia, which is the worst kind, which is you can't remember in time forward, not behind when you got the concussion. You can't remember what happened after the concussion. To this day, Blaine Wilson cannot remember his floor routine that he did after a high bar. So the the thing, there was some, like, people were upset about something that I said on Twitter, which even though I said I don't condone what Shane just did, I was very clear that I don't. And we had so many conversations about concussions on the podcast, and we've had, all of this happen. But as usual, no nuance on Twitter. So I wanted talk about this.
Twitter is for jokes and gifs.
I know, that's all I'm doing now, you guys. I'm never talking about anything serious ever again. So
If
basically,
you try to do something real, do it as a thread that you've thought about
yes,
with all the caveats and multiple tweets.
I agree.
And
Thank
make
you.
sure it's been sent and vetted to
just send it,
Kensley,
tweet it to-
Spencer,
text it
your
to us.
husband,
Be like, should I tweet this? And we'll be like,
mostly your husband.
yeah, but add 3 things.
So basically, my feeling on this is which I've said before, elite sports, including gymnastics, are not healthy for anyone. Elite athletes will always put themselves in danger. They will not stop, which is exactly what Shane did. He was like, no, I'm an athlete, I'm going to keep going. His coaches should have stopped him, the medical staff should have stopped him, they didn't. So you always have to have someone who has no vested interest in the outcome of the athlete's career, who protects the athlete. You have to have that person who will step in and stop him and remove him from the podium. And it cannot be a person who is a employee of USA Gymnastics. It has to be someone who, it can't, maybe not even a family member, because a family member is a person who might have a vested
absolutely
interest.
should not be a family member.
It should be a third
that would
party.
be very unethical.
It should be a third party who's like, my whole job is to protect your neck and your brain. I don't care about your career. I don't care what happens to you. Based on just on the mechanism of injury, which we don't know if he's injured. Let me say, we don't know if he has a concussion. We don't know if he's injured.
Right.
But
there was no check.
There was no check. And based on the velocity of his slamming his head and back and shoulders on the mat 2 times from that height and that speed, just based on that alone, he should have been stopped and evaluated. And Kensley made a really good point about the rules about this. About the 30 seconds.
Oh, yeah. So in the FIG rules, which are adopted here by USA Gymnastics, you only have 30 seconds to remount the event. And it was my suggestion that the FIG reevaluate those rules, and that if anyone suspects that there has been a head injury or that the head has been hit against the ground, then they should be given a different provision and time to be checked out right then, instead of having to worry about not being able to remount the equipment.
Yes.
Yeah, that was my question. I didn't know how that worked, because there is such an incentive to continue, because if you don't, and then they say, oh, you didn't have a concussion.
Yeah.
Then.
Right. Which is, most sports have that. Gymnastics is just stupid and bad and in the dark.
I'm shocked.
Well, there was, and maybe it was a different quad, but there was the one provision where if you were injured, you could just lay on the ground.
Yeah. That was last time. You could just stay laying down. The problem is, the other problem is, if you guys listen to our interview with Dr. Carolyn Just, which I posted again today because of Shane's fall, because we don't know, again, some people can slam their head that hard against a wall and not have a concussion, because everyone's different. But
this
it can
thick
take...
head over here has taken some hits that are just fine.
So
it's mostly skull.
It can take 10 to 15 minutes for your concussion to show up. And I was explaining to Kensley about why it's so important that people are pre-screened for a concussion, because a concussion doesn't necessarily or a traumatic brain injury is what we're supposed to say now, doesn't necessarily manifest itself by just light, your sensitivity to light, or a headache, or things that are really obvious. It's actually how your brain functions. And that's why you have to be screened ahead of time. And like an example is, if someone there's different kinds of screenings. So you have to know the person, and has to be customized for them. So for example, if someone didn't know me and they tried to screen me for a concussion and they asked me math questions, I was telling Kensley they would think I was brain dead, and definitely should be induced in a coma, and part of my skull should be removed to let the bleeding out. But if they did the same thing to Kensley, they'd be like, she doesn't have a concussion, she's fine. So you have to do this ahead of time, and then you have to have that with you. So if your regular medical provider isn't there, they can ask you the same questions to evaluate your actual brain function. Again, 10 to 15 minutes that can take to show up. So that was very concerning. And again, this is why you need someone who doesn't care about how the athlete does, but cares about
Right.
their brain.
And it would not be
just-
that difficult to impose this.
It wouldn't, because they already have the provision that if the equipment, like if your grip breaks, you can just go at the end of the rotation. So if you hit your head, you should be able to get checked out and then go at the end of the rotation.
Scott, what are your thoughts on this?
I was debating if I was going to stay here, if I should go to the hotel bar.
Would you have stopped a routine
Or-
if someone was like, we need to evaluate for a concussion?
Absolutely not. No, I mean, that I was never in that situation in my career, but the closest that I came is I had a pretty bad injury my sophomore year when I was doing really well. It was a Liz Frank injury, and I was like, can we tape it up? I can handle the pain. Like I think that's what everyone would said and do, and that's what Shane, I guess, did. We don't know.
Jessica, I have a question for you.
Okay, 1 second. Scott, you should definitely go to the hotel bar.
Okay.
You were excused. Thank you so much for joining us. Well,
Meg, that's a great idea.
Meg said,
Coop, can we do this thing from my phone? Can I do a remote?
That would be
you
excellent.
can do it from your phone.
That's a great idea.
Meg said that he should go to the bar and then get back on when he's drunk.
Bye, everyone.
Bye,
Thanks,
Scott.
You're the best. All right, Jessica, my question for you is, we did not see any of Sky Blakely on the broadcast, and she got a 55.7 in the all-around, and I want to know from you, how good was she, and was it good?
She was good, and it was good. That the Sky Blakely hype is real. That's legit. Did you watch any of her routines tonight?
Yeah, she was especially impressive. She was consistent. I felt like she had even more power today. She got she's the one who got the 15 on vault, right?
No.
Yeah. No.
Shilese got a 15 on vault.
Sky Blakely is the red Leo from Woga.
Yes. You know
This is
what?
me making eye contact with our listeners right now.
Gold Leo, very tall,
Yes.
huge.
Oh,
release
with the weird cutouts. That
Yeah,
was really
I did not care for all of these cutouts, these nudie bikini. Oh my god, Kensley liked that Gage Leo with the
I said
nudie
I liked the front of
bodice
it.
stringy on the
The front of it was lovely. The side of it was
bug flew in my face. Sorry.
interesting. Jessica used other words, but I'll leave it at that.
It's nudie up the sides, like sheer, and then it has crisscrosses like it's a bodice that can't fit together. Like you can't pull the laces tight enough so it separates. It was a bit much, you guys. But it's Gage. So they're into that like dominatrix bodice look. Like it's a whole thing. It's a tradition, just like their floor routines that
It's
you
very
can't
much
tell
a
apart.
tradition.
So anywho, do you have other she looked good. The future's bright for her. I expect to see her at Worlds in Japan.
Mm.
Yeah. The ladder on the sides is what Amber is saying. What other questions do you guys have for us about tonight and stuff that you guys didn't see? Jordan Childs, you guys saw Jordan's beam, right? Where she almost fell after her aerial was so off, and then she was like, I'll just do a back handspring and I'm done. Or lay out, step out, and stop.
Yeah, she did one. Yeah, she didn't do her full combination because she was so crooked. Yeah.
Yep.
They could also ask questions about men's things. Let's not keep it
Oh, we
just.
do love to kid around here.
Let me tell you guys a couple other behind the scenes stories. So the men's technical committee Kensley has her hands over her face. The men's technical committee messed up the tie-breaking procedure for the junior boys.
Excellent.
So they had to bring after the awards and after men's senior session went over, they had to go to these poor junior boys and say, I'm sorry, you're not really the national champion. Can you guys come back to the arena so we can redo the award ceremony for
Well-
high bar and all around?
And let me tell you why this is especially problematic.
This is not the first time this has happened.
This isn't even the
Cut,
worst of
smash
what
cut to Winter Cup that
This
one
is-
year.
This is not even the worst of what has happened this weekend. We'll get to it I'm sure on the regular show. So the MPC is working on creating how would you say it? Like a junior performance program that helps juniors like transition better to seniors. And they haven't totally worked out exactly what this is going to look like or how many people are going to be on it. But they do know that the junior all-around champion will be the first person selected to the team. So one person would have thought that they would have been selected to that training squad, and now they no longer will be automatically selected to that training squad.
Great.
The other thing, you guys, it was just horrible. Also, just let them tie. If you can't figure out tie-breaking procedures, just let the two boys share the thing. My God. Also,
Boys don't share things. What are you talking about, Jessica?
so Asher Hong and Morgan Hurd and Suni were all hanging out in the stands watching the senior men. So that was cool. We saw, who do we see? Peyton Ernst was there today watching.
Margzetta was there.
Margzetta was there watching her sister. Mihai was there in the audience. That guy.
When Jordan Childs did her like fall on, did you guys see her dramatic post routine fall onto the mat? I was like, is this a Mars tribute? Those two are going to be like to the point where it's going to be kind of a problem at UCLA. Waller's going to have to be like, all right, this is all fun, but like we do have to do a routine. At some point, we will have to do a routine. They'll be like, "Shut it!"
Oh my God, Coop! Can you show on the stream at the very top the dance party that started on the floor, which was it's the very first thing highlighted. So Jordan started a dance party on the floor. You know, to the left, to the left, to the right, to the right. Now get now. She started that, and she was like, yeah, I mean, we should just have fun. You know, we're all here. I feel, and I was like, this is the most UCLA thing a UCLA recruit has ever done. And she was like, a dance party. We should all celebrate. What's better than dancing? I was like, oh my God. Miss Val is like shot into her veins. Or this is why she got recruited. I mean, how cute is this, you guys? They're all dancing together. Elite gymnasts dancing
I can't
spontaneously.
tell
All
who
of
it is
them-
who's,
all of
like,
them except for
barely
one.
doing it and doesn't
Oh,
really want to be doing it.
Leanne was like
oh my
this
God,
the
I
whole
identify
time.
with Leanne so much all the time. On the broadcast, they were telling a story about how she gets upset with her parents for complimenting her, and I was identified with that so much. And I'm like, I think Leanne and I might be the same person. What a star.
Leanne is like,
Oh my God, I love you, Leanne, so much. Like, if you guys are seeing this dance party and how she doesn't really know what to do and doesn't
she has
really
her
want to
arms
do
crossed. Her arms
I-
are crossed.
what a star. I just want to say, Leanne, you were doing great.
Leanne does not suffer fools. Leanne is very serious, and she's not having any of your nonsense. Meanwhile, everybody
I
else is
feel like I
party time.
understand her. I understand Leanne.
Ugh.
We
What
did-
else happened?
We did get a question asking about Yoder versus Nedorashik. Can we address this?
Kensley would love to address
I have
this.
some thoughts.
I
Um,
think Brett really wants one of them to fall at trials.
I wonder which one you think. So
Are you upset that Alec Yoder is not yet on the national team?
Yes. So they created these new rules to allow specialists to get on the national team, which was if you won the event and you had the average score that would have placed you in the finals of the world championships, then you automatically make national team. And it was super duper close, like over a half of a tenth away between Yoder and Nedorashik. And I thought Nedorashik was super overscored on day one. And I thought Yoder was underscored specifically on day two. And so I sent those two routines to judges all over the world. And I had 3 different judges who sent me back scores, and they all said that Nedoroshic was overscored on day 1, but they also said that Yoder was overscored on day 2, which I thought was interesting. So it's a little bit inconsistent, but yes, Alec Yoder should be at Olympic trials and should be on national team.
We had a
And
question
I'm sure
about
he will be. Like, I'm sure they will advance him to Olympic trials, right? I mean, if they don't, that would be a terrible, terrible decision.
That's yes, it would, but
But like, all right, maybe they
We-
won't. I don't know. They're insane, but like, I think they obviously will.
we had a question about if Chelsea and Morgan did press, and they did not do any interviews. They also only take so many like people for interviews, so
And that's predetermined, right? Like they decide that.
no, they ask
Oh.
us.
Oh, who
Yeah.
you want at the moment?
Oh, we had a question. Yeah, they did the first day. Like Chelsea talked a lot. The first day she was so funny. And then we have a question from the forum. What if Jade is planning to use her unique position to bargain for a spot for Riley on the Olympic squad? Love
No,
this.
but
Love this theory.
have fun.
Question for Spencer regarding the selection for Junior Pan Ams, which are happening in
Ooh.
Mexico, right?
Yes.
So 4th place, Roberson. We know little Josh Roberson, who's been watching do standing
Mhm.
fulls since she was a toddler. 4th place was named alternate over 5th place, Chio. Strange for the Forster administration. I did some quick spreadsheet math, as our listeners do. And for the
I did the same, and I
S-
came to the same conclusion as the person who's written in here.
So what? Go ahead.
This person says, I did some quick spreadsheet math for the top scoring teams. Using day 1 and day 2 scores, the team with Jong, Johnson, Lincoln, and Roberson is the top scoring one. Using 3 up, 3 count, the team of Jong, Johnson, Lincoln, and Roberson is tied with the team of Jong, Johnson, Lincoln, and Chow. Any idea why? And no idea why. Yeah, I thought it was really weird. I mean, Kaylin Cho had a weird bars miss and like normally would have been second, but yeah, I think it's weird. What was the reasoning there? I want to know, and I don't know.
Only thing I can think about this is like sometimes if someone is injured and they did well here, but they're not going to be able to make it through all the training through a competition like that. But otherwise, I'm not sure why that happened. That's a good question. We shall investigate. Someone wanted to know what I cried through. I cried for starting with Morgan's floor. Then I cried when Jordan started crying. Then I cried during Diane Durham's thing. And then I started to cry during Jordan talking about being so happy and proud of herself during the awards. And then I had to like take a deep breath and like fan myself so I could ask her a question without crying. I'm sure I cried another time too, but that's all I can think of right now. Coop's giving me a look like you cried nonstop for the whole end of the.
You've
Who?
cried nonstop for.
Riley's bars. I
I'm
also
done.
cried because Riley did so well, and then her mom was crying because she was doing so well, and she was right by us, so I cried then too. You guys want to talk about vault? Vault. What would you like to know about vault? Let's go to this question next. Also, I'm glad they added rules for specialists to make national team. A few benefited. Alec Yoder. Oh, we already talked about this. Okay. Is Suni's bars really the hardest bar routine in the world? Tim and Nastia swear it is.
Nina's capable, but we haven't seen a lot from Nina lately. So I'm okay with them saying it is. And even on day 1, Tim cited the other highest scoring routine would be 6'5", and I think he's referring to Fanny Lin, who has a 6'5" right now. So I don't think like a shock. I think that's fine. They were kind of on track with that. We'll see what Nina pulls out. Belgium just had a trial, so I haven't looked at the scores or what Nina performed. I'll have to check in on that. There was a French junior who just did a 6'7" at French championships.
Oh,
this
shit.
past weekend.
A 6'7"?
Yeah.
Holy crap.
Yeah. So like France, hey, how you doing?
So we just had the question about vault. So yes, you have to do 2 different families of vaults, and the families are determined by what kind of entry to the vault. So you could do a Kaz, a Suk, a Yurchenko entry, or a handspring entry. Those are basically because you're not allowed to go sideways, except landing. So basically, those are the families. And yes, you do have to do 2 different families.
But it has to be a second post flight. This was a different post flight. This was the question.
Oh.
So like you can't do a Yurchenko double full and a Suk double full because those are both a layout salto with 2 twists. So you has to be a different family and a different post flight. So they were right on that too. Wow. Tim, he had a good night, I guess. Someone said Becky has also done a 6-8 in training. Yeah. So there are people who are capable. Lily Goldman asks thoughts on Grace and Kayla overall. We barely saw them tonight. I know, and wasn't that interesting? The NBC was like, Grace and Kayla barely exist, and they showed most of Skinner's routines. Like there were some choices made. Kayla and Grace are both still in it, but they have not made the team based on their nationals performance. But like Kayla has been missing a lot. She missed beam both days. She had a miss on bars. So if she shows up to trials and hits 4 for 4, she's still right in the mix, but she's going to have to show up to trials and hit 4 for 4. And that's the same for Grace.
One more question from the forum. So Jade's bars, her dad touches the cap at the end of the low bar while spotting her. I don't think that's a deduction. If he just touches that for a second to steady himself as he, I guess our judges will have to tell us if it's a deduction for the coach to touch the bar. You can't touch the person, but I don't know if you can't touch the bar. He's not like holding it to stabilize it. That would be a deduction, but
interesting. Yeah.
Also, does arching past handstand on bars like Simone did on low bar get a deduction? Yes. It is a miracle she stayed. That was a Simone stay on the bar moment.
That was a fight.
Whoo, that was I am not falling off these bars no matter what moment. I was like, our whole row, which was very quiet except for me, obviously, when she did that. That was pretty amazing.
So that's probably 3/10. Just if you're curious, I would say that arch was 3/10.
Jordan is so not going to UCLA. I mean, she says she's doing the tour, but not. And she was asked specifically, "Are you going to go pro?" And you're doing the tour, and she said, "No, I want the college experience." And
yeah,
you guys
I actually
have to
think
remember,
she is.
You guys have to remember with the name, image, and like this, the NIL new rules, you can profit as an athlete now. So you can't be a pro, but the rules are different. So she's not going to have to forego all the stuff that all these past athletes have. She's going to be able to capitalize on being an Olympian. And, if she wins an Olympic gold medal,
to remember is you have to remember it. What you idiots have to remember.
That's not how I meant it. Spencer. I'm sorry if that sounded condescending. I did not mean for it to seem condescending. Oh, Leah Finnegan, you guys.
Yeah.
Oh,
okay. That's another one. We're all focused on Morgan, but I'm like,
so
Leah Finnegan is better than a lot of the people who made trials.
Dr. Sam made a great point. She said that there were only 18 athletes selected, and it doesn't make for an even number of gymnasts on each apparatus. So they should obviously add Aaliyah Finnegan and Morgan Hurd so that it would come to an even 20.
Yeah, I don't. You guys, I totally. Can I just say something that's very controversial is going to piss people off? I love Morgan Hurd. I love Aaliyah Finnegan. I want everyone to go to trials. If it was up to me, there would be no limits. There would be 50 people. You haven't
said anything that's going to piss people off yet.
This is a competition, and if you don't have a score that's going to put you in an area that's competitive, you didn't do what you have to do to get there. Is it fair? No, sports aren't fair. It is a competition in the end.
It's not about fairness. It's about trying to advance the best gymnasts, regardless of how one meet goes. Because I think deciding teams based on one meet is stupid anyway. The concept of Olympic trials is stupid. And it's better in gymnastics than it is for track and field or swimming. Those are the worst formats. It's really exciting, but it's so not the best way to get your best team or the best people to the Olympics. All of this should be holistic impressions over years and seeing people in training and seeing scores over meets and meets and meets. Deciding it based on the national standings is just stupid because you're not getting the best people. And the whole goal should be to get the best people.
So do it more like Marta did, which is you decide
Correct.
holistically. Yeah.
I mean, Marta was an awful, it was like she's dead. Marta is an awful person, but her team selection
Was
and her
correct.
way of doing the system was correct. Like
Yeah.
if you did exactly what Marta did, but you were not a jerk about it, it would be the perfect system.
Yeah, and if people trusted it and there was transparency, and she would actually say, "These are the reasons. Look at the numbers. I'm going to run through it with you," instead of just being like,
Or even just
"Fuck
be
you
like,
guys."
Marta, and I know. At a certain point, you just hire a national team coordinator so that they know.
Yeah.
With the assumption, like, oh, you have a level of expertise, you can look at someone and be like, you're the one.
Yeah.
That's what you want from a national team coordinator.
Okay, last question. Did Chelsea hurt her shoulder and that's why she ended her bar routine? She just said it was not her day.
I think she was just like, you guys I have not hit a complete bar routine. This isn't going to happen. I had a good time, but like this bar's routine isn't happening today. I mean, I think she was tired. Like that's what I felt on Beam with her Arabian. I was like, you guys, it's hard. It's hard out there for a mammal.
Oh my God, you guys, also, her husband was the first person that stood up to give her a standing ovation when she decided, like, not my day on bars today. And he, like, the lumberjack love, you guys. He had
Mhm.
like a baby in one arm, stood up, clapped for his wife. That's another time I cried. I can't even talk about it. I'm going to cry again. Oh, sports, you guys. I'm just so emotional. Sports is so emotional. Okay. Any closing thoughts before we wrap up this wonderful weekend and move into no podcast on Monday because we're all traveling except Spencer, who'll be enjoying his day off, and we'll record on and by day off I mean hilarious gifts from the weekend, and then
Meaning I'm going to be writing the outline for our episode that we're recording on Tuesday. That's my
We
mind.
we already have it started, Spencer. I already got it started
Yeah.
for you.
I actually got the email because Jessica included me on the email. I mean, I have some organizational concerns with this outline that I'm going to have to address, but I like that it exists,
we just needed a place to put our notes.
Yeah.
You can reorganize everything the way you want.
and I will.
I know,
think-
that's why you're good at that. That's why that's Spencer's job.
I would say my one final thing is I've been vigorously looking through documentation right now because that's what you do. And
What
the
can-
men's program has a requirement for an independent observer through their selection procedures to Olympic trials. I cannot find that for the women. It only says that there's an independent observer for the Olympic team selection.
Why the
So,
fuck are
I'm-
all the rules for
No.
both sides different? Like,
This has been a quick thing while we're doing behind the scenes, but
so this might not be true. This is just what you can find in
this
the
is what
moment,
I
and
have
we
been
will
able to
investigate.
this is what I've been able to find in the moment. So if you are able to find anything different, send it to us. jimcastic@gmail.com because we need all the receipts.
What are your gut predictions of the team at this point? So Simone, Jordan, Suni,
Simone, Jordan, Suni, and question mark.
Leanne Wong, or
It's just going to be
Malibu.
literally whoever finishes fourth all around at trials. I'm sure
Eh.
because at this point, all of those teams with all those people are so close. Like they're all within 0.5 of each other, and they're all going to win the Olympic team gold. And they're just going to go to the all around, and I'm going to be mad. That's what's going to happen. I can tell you right now that I'm going to be mad.
All right, guys, we will see you on Tuesday night. Probably the podcast will be up. Thank you so much for your support. Thank you for joining us. There's so many of you here, and thank you. We could not be here without your support. Thank you so much. I hope you guys enjoyed these. Thanks to our special guests for stopping by, and we will see you guys on Tuesday. Thank you so much. Have a great rest of your Sunday night. Thanks for listening.